Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the majority is once again choosing to engage in a partisan, unproductive, and unserious messaging exercise that they have dubbed Energy Week. In 2023, the United States produced more oil and gas than any other country ever, and exported unprecedented amounts of liquefied natural gas to our allies across the world. Simultaneously, 2023 was a record year for combined utility-scale solar, wind, and energy storage installations across the country. These clean energy projects can be found in nearly all congressional districts in all 50 states. My friends on the other side of the aisle claim to be champions of an all-of-the-above energy strategy, but they're completely silent about these massive accomplishments that are not only driving significant investments to areas across the country, but are producing cheap, clean American energy. This is probably because so many of these wins were made possible by the historic bills that House Democrats passed last Congress, like the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. I was proud to include in those bills several of my priorities, including combating methane emissions and encouraging the development of transmission infrastructure by ensuring the federal government has the tools it needs to step in and stop excessive permitting delays. However, the laws we passed last Congress will not be enough. We are facing extraordinary growth in energy demand from electric vehicles, AI, data centers, and the reshoring of domestic manufacturing, again, thanks to the efforts and leadership of President Biden and his administration. But we are lagging far behind China, which is dwarfing us in manufacturing, construction of clean energy resources, and the extraction and refining of critical minerals like nickel and cobalt. We need an unprecedented level of clean energy development and deployment to meet our climate goals and avoid catastrophe. If the majority is interested in talking about a long-term energy strategy to maintain affordability and reliability, we need finally to talk about transmission and the grid. And we also need to work on speed. We will still fail if we let all the money we've set aside sit in the bank by making good energy projects wait years for permits to come through, and further delays if bad actors and nervous neighbors take them to the court again and again. It's extremely frustrating that during Energy Week, we are actually taking the time to vote on whether strong regulations on methane emissions are even necessary, or whether oil and gas producers should cover the costs of unplugged or abandoned wells. Are you kidding me? Of course we need to regulate methane, and of course oil and gas companies should pay to clean up for the messes that they made. How can Republicans say they support clean American energy while simultaneously fighting against common sense regulations on methane and not even engaging in how to expand and upgrade the grid? The bills we're considering this week take us farther away from the solutions to the problems we're facing, and I am proud to oppose every single one of them. Our country prides itself on accomplishing big things together, whether it's winning world wars, constructing an interstate highway system, or discovering the next big medical breakthrough. We should be voting on my FASTER Act, so transmission lines aren't stuck jumping between local, state, and federal agencies for the permits they need. We need to thoughtfully streamline the judicial review process for all energy projects so that developers, agencies, and petitioners aren't in limbo for years. We need certainty, not an unreliable and inefficient review process. And everything I said about that today can and should be bipartisan. So I will say to my Republican colleagues, let's look beyond just oil and gas, truly invest in an all-of-the-above energy strategy that looks to the future instead of clinging on to the past. Thank you, and I yield back.